Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome to some new spoilers for Force of Will. Yes, in the wee hours of the morning, technically for me, because time differences for you guys. These spoilers came out for not the starter decks for Reiya Cluster, but actually the first booster set, Ancient Knights, which I was fairly surprised at. I didn't expect us to actually be getting these spoilers until maybe like another week or so, or maybe until like the starter decks were actually all spoiled, but I guess we are now jumping into the spoilers for the actual first set of the Reiya Cluster, which is pretty exciting. These dropped like about maybe 3 or so in the morning for me, so at that point I couldn't really record straight away, obviously because I needed my sleep, as you know, people do need sleep, even though some say sleep is for the weak, but I am now refreshed, I am energized, I have my cup of tea, I am all ready to talk about these spoilers, which apparently will be coming out every Monday and Friday now, according to the spoiler article and whatnot. So we can look forward to these videos now, for at least for the next couple of weeks, whatever, on Mondays and Fridays. So the channel's going to be getting pretty busy with all these spoiler talks, whatever, so we'll see how many we can, like, squeeze in during the week. But first up, we are seeing a familiar face in an unfamiliar world. Interesting, because our J ruler here, or rather our ruler here, is Pandora, which obviously, as we all know, Pandora, back in Grimm's world, you know, she was holding the box and whatnot. She married Grimm, she's a mother to Milliam, but for some reason in Reiya Cluster, in this brand new world, she's here as a lot younger, and she's actually looking hella cute. I like her hairstyle and everything. She's looking adorable, but why is she here? Why is Pandora in this world and not in Grimm's world? Maybe we will find out once we dive into Reiya Cluster, but she is our Light J ruler. She has a judgment of 1 light, but you can only play this ability only if you control 3 or more golems, which I guess these are the guys in the background here, as you can see. I guess they're her pals or whatnot. So golems are going to be Pandora's thing, apparently. So you can only judgment her if you control 3 of them, which, you know, is fair, considering how cheap that judgment is. Her Energize is for light, obviously, and she has something down here which has been revealed to be you know how the starter decks have the sealed items, like the little squiggly text at the bottom that we don't know what it reads or whatever. This is apparently Pandora's, but obviously this is unsealed, so this is basically, I'm guessing that they want to keep the starter deck ones sealed for now, and then the ones in the actual set, Ancient Knights, they're unsealed, so we actually get to find out what it is. It seems to be an ability that's not like a God's Art, because obviously you're not paying for it because it costs 0, but it's something that kind of, it helps her out, I suppose, and it costs 0. It's called Hair Ornament of Light, which, if you remember back, well, not back, but it just came released. If you remember in Echoes of the New World, there was an edition, I believe it was like called the Bauble of Light or something like that, and it kind of looks like the image, the symbol here that is for Pandora, so it must be related to her in some fashion. But the ability here, Hair Ornament of Light, is 0 cost. A target golem you control is mobilized until end of turn. You play this ability only once per turn. Now, bear in mind it says once per turn, so this means that this can also be activated on your opponent's turn as well. So not only can you use it on your turn to make sure one of your golems can actually attack, but you can also use it on your opponent's turn to make sure they can block as well. So that's interesting to know. And then at the bottom here, it's like, leave now, you'll go no further. And she's called a guardian, which is really interesting. So maybe this is, I'm not entirely sure about the Pandora mythos and whatnot. I do know the thing about she was given the box, she opened the box, and all the bad things happened and whatnot. So perhaps this is set in a time before she opened the box or whatever. But when she flips over, she gets hella angry and she becomes Pandora, guardian of the sacred temple. Look at that face. That face is just screaming at you, saying, you want to get out of my grill? Get out of my grill now. I've got these golems on my side. She is a 2,000, which is pretty insane. I don't think we've had a J ruler that has had that strong defense since Gil Al-Hamat, when he flips over to his 3rd side. I believe he's like 2k. So we've never had really a J ruler who is this powerful, but she is pretty epic on her flip side. Golems you control are mobilized, so we don't need to worry about getting our golems all mobilized and stuff. If damage would be dealt to a golem you control, it's dealt to this card instead, which is probably why she has such the hefty defense and whatnot, to try and keep her alive. And her kind of sealed thing at the bottom here changes somewhat, because obviously it's different on her flip side. It changes to, you pay 4, which is 2 light and 2 void, and golems you control gain 400 until end of turn, which is, interesting. I'm sure there's other ways of making all our things buff until end of turn and whatnot, but that's an option if you've got like the open will. And at the bottom it says here, I will show trespassers no mercy. That is my purpose. So, very interesting. I wonder who she's angry at. I wonder who has trespassed onto her sacred temple. Maybe the travelling 5 from the starter decks, or the travelling 4 rather, when they're on their way to the castle. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll need to wait and see and find out what happens. But next up we see she has a special magic stone. It is the Mysterious Magic Stone. Treat this card as a light magic stone, but just as light. You can pay a light and tap it, and you can banish it, and you put a target golem from your graveyard into your hand. So another mechanic there where you banish the stone and it does things. So I guess Ancient Knights is really looking at using like banished stones for things. A stone housing a mysterious sacred power. Interesting. And next up we have the cutest little thing there, the Magic Light Warrior, which is a 1-cost resonator, 600/600. So pretty decent stats for a 1-drop. It is a golem. They are pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie. It has Mobilize, which is the thing that is connected to Pandora here, which is you have to pay a light, and this card cannot attack or block unless its controller pays a light. So within Pandora's ability, she can basically mobilize something for nothing until like once per turn. So you could mobilize this, so that it could be able to block on your opponent's turn and whatnot. It does mean that it doesn't have swiftness, because obviously this thing says that it can't do anything unless it's mobilized, but obviously it doesn't come with swiftness as a start, so even then, it's not as if you could play it, mobilize it, and then it can attack, because obviously it doesn't have swiftness. So, a servant loyal to Pandora's every command. Next up, we have the Magic Sword Warrior, another golem here. It's a 2-cost, 800/600. So not really much better stats than the 1-drop. So I'm not quite sure how much play this one will get, because it's only like slightly better than 1-drop, and like it's got the same defense and whatnot. So maybe this one won't see play as much. But it has got First Strike. The Mobilize is the same cost as well. And at the bottom, it's these soldiers do not feel pain and do not know mercy. So really interesting here. So she's surrounding herself with all these creepy golem things. Well, not all of them are creepy, but this next one is pretty creepy. It's the Bubble Golem. For some reason, this is a blue one, which is kind of weird considering that she's a light ruler, and her stone only produces light. So I'm not quite sure why you would want to run this one, although looking at it here, it's a 2-drop, it's 2 blue for 1000/1000, which is kind of insane. The Mobilize is also only 1, so again, you can use Pandora's ability to mobilize it. At end of battle, banish this card if it attacked or blocked. So I guess this is a good way. It's like if you dropped this and then you used it to attack, say if your opponent didn't kill it or anything like that, and then you could banish that stone, bring it back into your hand, all those shenanigans here. It's kind of weird how it's blue. I'm not quite sure why they decided to make it blue, because the rest of these cards are all light. So I'm really confused about that. It's really bizarre. Next up, we have the Ultimate Magic Warrior, Gear Atmos, which I believe this is the golem that's featured in the background of Pandora's J-Ruler art. It is a hefty 7-cost, it's 2000/2000, which is hella scary. It's got a Mobilize of 3, but you may banish 3 golems rather than pay this card's cost. So ideally, what I would imagine you would want to do is you would want to get 3 of those little guys out, use those 3 little guys, then flip over Pandora. So if you can like manage to get this by turn, say 3 or whatever, because you only cost 1 to flip. You flip in Pandora, whatever. All your things have Mobilize, and then you can banish those 3 little golems to get this guy out. And he's just here sitting being a scary guy. He can attack or block for days because Pandora's flipped and all that stuff. I can see that being a viable strategy with this one. And then whenever this card enters the field, you destroy target resonator your opponent controls. So that's kind of good as well, so that it has an enter ability. Obviously, if your opponent's got an Abdul out, it's not going to help too much because, that's kind of annoying. But I can see this being like a little combo there where you get the little golems out, you flip Pandora, and then you get this guy out because you just want to get all the memes out there. You want to get all them golems out there helping Pandora out. Next up, we have a blue chant, which is actually kind of weird. So I'm guessing they're pushing for the Pandora deck to maybe be a dual color deck. So maybe light and blue. Maybe we'll get some more cards in the blue spoilers or whatever when they come around that maybe help golems out as well. But I feel like all the golem support would be in this spoiler unless there's like some more or whatever. So I don't know. We'll just need to wait and see. It's Pandora's Order. It is a quick cast spell. It's 4 costs. It's 2 blue and 2 void. Put target golem from your graveyard into the field. It is mobilized until end of turn. At the next end of turn, return it to its owner's hand. So this would be well, I was about to say it would be a good way to use that blue golem, but at the same time, it's like when it dies, or rather, if it has attack to block, it's like it's still going to graveyard anyway because you're banishing it. So it's not like you can return it to your hand because it says at the next end of turn, which is a wee bit sad or whatever. I suppose you could use it to, if for some reason your big massive golem has died or whatever. I don't know how you would die, like maybe if someone like just outright destroyed it or something like that, you could just return that to your hand. So it is kind of interesting, and it's like kind of neat at the bottom here where like Pandora's like disappear, and she's like literally sitting on top of this golem or whatever, commanding it, which is hella scary. And then next up we have Crippling Light, which is a 5-cost chant. Destroy all non-golem resonators. So this is basically just absolute hate for anyone who's not doing a mirror match against you, because literally all your other resonators are golems at this point. So this is pretty much a good board wipe, although it is expensive. So I'm not too sure. I guess it depends really, like, on the state of play. Obviously, it's not quick cast either. You can only play it on your turn, which again doesn't really help too much for the overall deck. But it is interesting. Certainly, it is interesting. At the bottom, it says "Turn to Dust." Pandora just seems hella angry at people for trying to get into her temple. She is not having it. She seemed like such like a nice, meek, kind of like gentle character in Grimm Cluster. And then we get to Reiya Cluster and she's just like, yo, I'm not taking any of your crap. Get my golems out here. They're going to wreck your stuff. Like, she is just a super angry girl. Just, oh my goodness. But anyway, guys, this has been these surprise spoilers now. So we know now that at least for the next week or so, we're going to have, or the next couple of weeks, we're going to have Monday and Friday spoilers. We only have 2 more starter decks, so another 2 weeks we'll have the green starter deck spoilers, and we'll have the black one for the darkness deck, and then the starter deck spoilers will be done, and then we'll just be having the spoiler articles and whatnot for Ancient Knights, which will be really, really interesting, I think, and I'll probably be discussing those as well until we get to Reiya Cluster, like, properly kicking off with the booster set. So I hope you enjoyed these spoilers, guys. Let me know what you think of Pandora and her little golem army. Do you think that this hints as to the lore of this world? Is the Reiya Cluster actually set in like an ancient version of Grimm's world? Is it an entirely different world insistently, or is it maybe a parallel world? Who knows? Who knows? So until next time, guys, I will see you all later.